more destruction just started. We're gonna remove this whole blue piece.
Hi, I'm Ben.
And I'm MP. We love the ocean, so we decided to make it our home by buying a massive wooden schooner, which is unfortunately sinking.
A lot of people believe our boat is doomed, but we refuse to settle on that thought, and we are willing to do whatever it takes to bring it back to its former glory.
Join us on this refurbishing journey and wish us luck.
These boards are being taken off up there. As you can see, they continue further. But for now, they've been taken off so we can start working on them. Behind them, there's also some rotten woods, as you can see. So they'll be replaced. The big board up here has to be replaced. You can see it's also very rotten, what he's actually hammering right now. So to do that and to actually fit the frames onto the boat, these had to be taken off. They weren't very good shape wood anyway. It's also one of the thinnest pieces of wood we're going to use on the boat, so it is going to be easier to replace. But yeah, more destruction. Opa. So when those come off without even having to cut them at the bottom, that is a bad sign. Brancão também, esse, ou não?
You! Vai!
So this is off already. There's one more small piece of it left, which is almost gone. Now what's really cool is now we can literally work on everything. Now all this is exposed. Once all these frames have been put in now, it's going to look like the other side. There we can start putting the planks on and start changing the bigger pieces of wood towards the top. I think that'll be a lot quicker than imagined.
Today we are back to planking and we're getting our fourth plank on the port side. It's really, really exciting.
Vai pra trás, tá, Cláudio? Aí. Agora tem que vir pra frente, tá? Vou lá. Então se comporta, malandro. Pega o outro menorzinho, pô, do... Malandro, vaza, vê se dá lá. É, o pé que é fora da guerra, velho.
Hey, can you tell me what's going on?
We've now got 3 lowest lines of planks through the whole port side of the boat. We've got the first 4th line plank, and they're busy hammering on the nails of the second plank of the 4th line. But what we're doing here is we're actually measuring if the frames are all, if there isn't any frame sticking out, so that the plank can fit on nicely. If there's a frame sticking out too much, it means you're going to have to make too much of the bend to the plank, and you can see this thickness doesn't bend. Or if there's one frame in too much, it means it's going to have to bend inwards. So Elio is busy planing them all. So with this stick, we're just seeing if they're all nice and nicely curved. And if there's one sticking out too much, we plane it down a bit. And that will be done for every plank. I have counted, and I think they're putting on the 20th frame. I think 20th plank. I think there's 20 planks on this boat already, including the one that's being put on right now. So I'd like to just take this moment to thank everyone who's been involved or sponsored or adopted a frame or a futtock. So if you saw in the previous episode, we had this mysterious bottle flush up in the waves, and it had one of these in. And it was a little project that was from one of our patrons, and we didn't know how this was going to go. It was just an idea, so we threw it out there, and we are speechless to say that already 50% of all the frames, including futtocks, have been adopted already. We started this project not knowing what would happen, and we are so grateful for everyone who has joined us and will be carrying around on the boat with us, and we just cannot wait to have your names on our frames or futtocks to carry along with us. I would like to just take this moment to thank each and every one of you. I hope you're watching right now, because you are amazing and you're supporting us so much.
And we would like to take this moment also to welcome our new crew members. So thank you so much for joining us on Patreon. Robert G, Susan, Robert R, Alexis, and David.
We are also super grateful for your PayPal donations. Anders, Jose or Josie, Matthias, and Matthew. And I wish the beach was longer, because we've got another million people that we are super grateful for. And then also thanks again for those frame and futtock adoptions. Okay,
Your head!
So here is my best attempt at explaining how a plank is made from this little piece of wood that Elio writes a lot of numbers and stripes on, with each video being up to 10 seconds. I'll try and do that to keep it simple. Step 1, each of these frames is planed back so the plank can actually curve around and be in contact with each frame. Once that has been done, a little piece of wood like this, the length of the plank, is nailed onto the frame with small nails to start the measurements. The third step is he grabs a pencil and he measures the middle of each frame, like so, and he draws a line on the middle of each frame on this small piece of wood. Step 4, he draws a little line on the plank just under it, so later he can measure the distance from a point on this little wood to there, which can be brought over to the plank. Step 5, so on each of these frames, somewhere hidden is the distance that the size that the plank needs to be. So he's just taking that, writing it on the plank underneath, a lot bigger, so later he can see it straight away when he's measuring the size that the plank has to be. Just a small step. After that, he gets a compass and measures the distance from a point on this line that crosses through the middle of the frame to the line he drew on the plank. That distance is from here to here, so later when he brings it onto the plank, he can just undo what he did. So take this distance and draw it onto the plank. After that, straight away he writes on here what the full distance is from this line to the top of this plank. So he knows 15 centimeters is exactly from here to here. Same here, 15.6 centimeters is from here to here. I know that wasn't 10 seconds, but I had to explain it. Once that has been done on all of the frames, there and there and so on, it can be taken to the workshop to be placed on a raw piece of wood to make the cutout. So when choosing a plank of wood, we need to make sure it's big enough so the plank can fit in that piece of wood, but also not too big so we don't waste wood. So it needs to be small but big, because that makes so much sense. So yeah, normally our wood is covered. Unfortunately, it just started tipping it down, and we still cover it, but it's just soaked. Everything here, except for in the workshop. That's pretty cool that that's dry still. So with wet wood that we can't work on yet, we just put lots of sawdust on it, make sure all the small particles get inside the wood, because the dry sawdust absorbs the moist of the wet plank. Now this plank has to be as close as possible to the edge by measuring the distance from here to there to make sure this line doesn't go over, because if it goes over, the plank won't fit inside this. But if, for example, you put the plank here and you measure it like so, it means you're wasting this much. So it has to be as close as possible to the edge without anything going over the edge. Now the lines that represent the frames on this piece of wood are now extended onto the plank that we're going to, well, the wood that we're going to cut the plank out of, all the way across. Once we know exactly where the frames go, the distances are measured from the 2 dots he made on the boat to where the frame meets, and that's where a nail is put in, so later we can draw a straight line to where it has to be cut. So I don't know if you can see now already that all these little nails here are creating a nice curve down this side of the plank, and that's going to be the top. Then this thinner plank is nailed against the current nail, so a nice line can be drawn, and that's exactly where the plank's going to be. What Zeka is looking at now is if, for example, you can see that this is not a smooth curve, the nails have to be placed separately to make this one nice and smooth. Now the size of the planks, in this case 15, can be measured from the line that was just drawn, perpendicular inwards where another nail can be placed. So this plank can be put on again, and the second line can be drawn, so it can be cut.
Raining the whole week and we are quite fed up already.
So I think today is day 6 or 7 of non-stop rain.
Because it makes it super annoying to work. It's just slowing us down so much as well, because we work under the boat, and of course we have a lot of drops coming on us, and we work with electric too, so the guys cannot stay there because it's dangerous, so you have to stop.
It actually finally stopped a bit. It's a special year here in Brazil. Meninha, Maninha.
La Niña phenomenon. How do you say?
Phenomenon.
phenomenon, La Nina phenomenon happening here in Brazil.
Where it literally does not stop raining, and on top of that there is loads of wind. So even though we couldn't be under the boat very much putting planks up, the guys spent lots of time in the workshop making the planks. And bit by bit, I haven't been filming at all because it's just been quite repetitive work for you guys, and bit by bit planks have been put on. So have a look here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines of planks in the bow. Towards more aft there are less, all right, so that starts to be done. But over here there's 3 more that have to be put on. 1, 2, 3, and then the top one, the cintado, which is the one that hugs everything together, it's the fattest one. But amazing work being done. I'm sure they would have also managed to do a lot more if it wasn't raining.
The rain stopped a bit, so they're back there, but then the rain comes back and we had to come here under the workshop. And yeah, it's starting to get a bit old because it's Thursday and it's been like this the whole week.
Found this rainy sun hat in the boat, which actually acts very good for rain as well. We are still waiting for wood for the starboard side, so until we're waiting to make more frames on the starboard side, the planks have been put on here. If you have a look underneath, we've got a nice bottom of our hull ready also.
For example, this plank, it's waiting for us to work on it. But to just put some sawdust on top to try to absorb a bit the water so it can start working, so everything gets slow and it's not as fun. We're all a bit bleh. But next week from Tuesday we'll have sun again, so we are looking forward for those days.
This tarp has been doing a very good job, however it's also been crazy windy, like crazy windy, so the rubbing of this tarp onto the deck and all the metal parts and bits sticking out on the deck has also been ripping it a bit, so some drops are still getting in. But the boat's mainly dry, nothing's been shut completely yet, so the water can run out. But amazing job so far. Let's go and have a look in the workshop. So walking towards the workshop, you can see it's just mud everywhere. The good thing is that the planks the wood that we're using for planking is quite close to the workshop itself. So one by one they're being taken on here. It's all being measured on here. The lines are being drawn, cut in the ships, or then planed as well, or flattened. Then they're brought onto here where the last adjustments are made. Then this is why it's taking so long, because now this plank is here but it's still wet and raining, so before it can be taken to the boat it has to dry up a bit and then that can be put in.
So yeah, this is how a day under the rain looks over here. Ben put this new tent up yesterday. We had the orange one already, now the blue one's new, to try to give some comfort when it's dripping so much. That's so annoying, but the rain is just too much, so yeah. It's a slow week, but things are happening, we are progressing, and it's all good. Hey, are you also tired of the rain? Are you also tired of the rain? Is it getting old for you as well? Are you tired of the rain? Hmm.